Well, good morning, everybody. My name's Doug Bowles with the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's kind of an exciting day here at this historic racetrack. 130 days from now, we will be just about to green flag the 104th running of the Indianapolis 500 presented by Gamebridge. And just 42 days later, we will be kicking off our race day for the Big Machine Vodka 400, the 27th running of that event here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And as you guys know, there's been an awful lot of news about the Indianapolis Motor Speedway over the last 60-plus days. And we're really excited about the future. And as we've been thinking about the future and conversations in that time frame, one of the things that comes up every day is how do we continue to grow the Big Machine Vodka 400 in that racing weekend. In fact, it may be one of Mr. Penske's highest priorities. And as we were thinking about it, we thought about how do we really show that investment? How do we show the excitement around that weekend, and especially its new date around Independence Day? So as you can see up here to my left in front of you is pretty much a who's who of motorsport. And we're excited to bring these folks together. It shows you the teamwork, I think, that the motorsport community has and the commitment that the motorsport community has to making the Big Machine Vodka 400 weekend one of the greatest weekends on the racing schedule in 2020. To my left, I will walk through the folks that are here. Obviously, Roger Penske, chairman of Penske Corporation. Excited to have Roger here. Patty Lanning to his left, who is the VP of North American Marketing for Shell Lubricants. To her left, Ben Kennedy, who's the manager, director of racing operations and international development for NASCAR. Scott Borchetta to Mr. Penske's right, Big Machine Label Group, and who is our partner around Big Machine Vodka 400 weekend. Sam Flood on the far left is NBC and NBCSN's president of production. We are so excited to have him here today as well. And then to my left, a race car driver who really doesn't need an introduction, Justin Allgaier. I think of him as a winner at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, having won the Xfinity race here 2 years ago. And I love Kyle Busch, but I have to say I was hoping you were going to get him there at the end of the race this year. You did end up second there, but you've been a great ambassador for the sport, and you were in Tulsa this morning for the Chili Bowl. You'll be back in Tulsa, so thank you for figuring out a way to get through the fog and get to us today. So as we start thinking about what's going to happen 172 days from now, and we'll back that up by 5 days, and we kick that off with the United States Auto Club's BC39, the third one that we've had. We have Kevin Miller with United States Auto Club here, and Levi Jones. Thank you for coming, guys. That's really the kickoff of that entire weekend. Mr. Penske, this is an exciting moment, the opportunity to talk about your first announcement, really, first opportunity to talk about the Speedway, and it's about the Brickyard. Talk about why today is so important.
Well, Doug, thanks everybody for coming today. Obviously, people want to know what we're doing, so we thought we'd have some cadence here over the next several days and get to 100 days before the 500 and have some fun. And I think that as we sat around, and I would say thanks to Mark Miles and the whole team, we closed, I guess, on January 6th, but I said we were practicing for 2 months ahead of time, so this didn't all happen in the last 10 days to make this decision we're going to make today. But as you know, NASCAR was brought to the Speedway, and how many weekends have they been here over the last how many years?
Every year since 1994.
So 94, and to think about what we could do with Ben and his team at NASCAR to make a difference. And I think that's one of the things that I've tried to tell the team here. We're going to invest between now and the 500 in the Brickyard for fan experience. Not about revenue, but for fan experience. And I think one of the things we need to do is think, well, what can we do different? And sitting down with the NASCAR team and our team, we decided, what could we do to make this Brickyard weekend different? And as you know, it's Independence Day. We have Memorial Day just a month or so before that. And the men and women who serve in our armed forces and the first responders are the top of the list. So we felt, what could we do to connect? And I think we'll be announcing things as we go forward to connect that great group of people that do so much for our country. But with that, getting together with NASCAR, we felt with our relationship with NASCAR, as we've been a track owner, I remember when Bill France Jr. and Lynn Kukler were up at Michigan, and we were going to maybe cancel the first NASCAR race. We had bought the Michigan track, and they begged me to run it. Well, it was the best thing we ever did, and I guess since then, we've developed a relationship with the France family and everyone else there that's just been amazing. And with the changes that NASCAR is making to make their product better, he said, what can we do here? So we'll talk about that as we go forward. But to me, it's the 4th of July weekend. It's the military, it's our fans, and certainly the people here that make a difference. And I think, Doug, as you know, you've been a big part of this, that we'll announce here in a few minutes just what we're going to do to make it different. But first, let me thank you all for coming today. Thank Patty, obviously, and Scott. They both bring a real key part of this weekend. I mean, we have a relationship with Pennzoil for many years. Rick Mears won a race here with a Pennzoil car. Elio drove it, and certainly Scott, his reputation. And I'm going to learn about concerts and Florida-Georgia line. These are things I don't know much about. I can set up a car, but I'm not sure I know all these names. So I'm going to get a little help there. But we're really excited from our perspective. And again, I want to thank all of the media and certainly the people that have supported our journey here over the last, say, 12 or 14 weeks. So I want to thank you.
So you sort of alluded to it. We have a pretty cool announcement to make. One of the bigger changes around the Big Machine Vodka 400 weekend. Why don't you talk about that and explain how Patty fits into that?
Well, number one, we've decided to run on Saturday. The Pennzoil race will be on the road course, not on the oval. And we'll run the Brickyard 400 will run on the oval as normal on Sunday. So to me, it's a change. We went to the NASCAR people. They've looked at our road course. We'll run the road course similar to what we do with the Indy cars, and we'll have a car. Ben will talk about it to do some testing. But we think that's a big change. It's something that we want our fans to look at this and see if this is something that they want so we can grow this in the future. And certainly, Justin will talk about it. This can put on some great racing. And guess what? The 500 was the 500 for I don't know how many decades. And once the decision was made to move NASCAR in, we felt that we wanted to take it to the next level. And we've had some great racing here on the weekend, the Brickyard weekend, but we think with the concerts, the road course on Saturday and the oval on Sunday will make a big difference for our fans and certainly for our TV partners. So again, we're excited, and Doug, thank you. And this team here, we've talked about it. We know that we can turn this track. Think about it. Turning it from an oval into a road course is not easy, but our team can do that here. So we're excited to announce that this morning.
Patty, the Pennzoil brand has a lot of roots here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The Pennzoil brand has been in victory lane here. I think back to days of Johnny Rutherford, days of Rick Mears. That yellow Pennzoil color makes a lot of sense at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And once again, the Pennzoil brand is going to help make history with the Xfinity race. Talk about how important that is for you guys to continue the legacy of Pennzoil at the Speedway, and especially in this unique and new event that we'll offer around Big Machine Vodka weekend.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're really, really excited about this opportunity. And as Roger mentioned, we've been in a strong partnership for many years with Roger and Penske Racing, and we saw this as a natural transition and opportunity for us to take advantage of. Obviously, to be able to sponsor the first NASCAR road race here at Indy is pretty amazing. And I know a lot of drivers are probably going to be really excited about the opportunity to win at this race. And for us, as you mentioned, obviously, Pennzoil has a long history of winning at this track, and obviously the opportunity for us is to continue to take advantage of it. We've had Johnny Rutherford in 80, obviously Rick Mears in 84 and 88 to win. And for us, that's a great partnership, and we couldn't be more excited for it. So we're really looking forward to what the future holds and the opportunities to go forward in this partnership in the future.
And we're all excited to have you, and thank you as well for coming in for this announcement.
Oh, my pleasure.
Ben, I've got a question for you. I get a question all the time. We're in Indy. The IndyCar series is sort of in our DNA, and people say, what's it like to work with NASCAR? And in my 10 years here, I can't think of a better partner than NASCAR. You guys are engaged with us. You help us try and think about how to make our events better. You own the problems that are NASCAR's problems. We own the problems that are ours. We lay everything on the table. It is an amazing partnership. Talk a little bit about how this came about and what the next steps are to getting to July and the Xfinity race on the road course.
Sure, and I appreciate the collaboration as well. It's really been such a seamless process. We've been kind of contemplating, do we run the road course here at Indianapolis for quite a while now, and the collaboration with Roger and Bud and you, Doug, and the entire team here at IMS has been really an easy journey. So certainly a very exciting announcement for us at NASCAR, an exciting announcement for Xfinity. In the Xfinity Series, you think of that series and always such fantastic racing that they put on, and especially you think of the road courses we go to, from Road America to Mid-Ohio, Watkins Glen. Some of the road course racing is our best racing for the Xfinity Series. So I'm sure Justin will allude to it a little bit more, but really excited to see what that weekend brings for the Brickyard and everything that Roger and the team are doing around the track and around that weekend. And really bringing a breath of fresh air to it will be great. And then we'll also have Matt DiBenedetto out here next week testing the course. So going to test out a few different configurations, just make sure everything looks good on our end. And we'll be out here for the July 4th weekend.
So one of the funnier things that's happened over the last several weeks is we are trying to figure out the layout. What's the configuration look like? The guys that are down in Daytona said, well, we'll just test in January. So fortunately, our 10-day forecast looks really good. So next Wednesday, Matt will be out here testing a couple different configurations, and there will be an announcement later on which configuration we'll actually use. But we're excited to excited to see a race car on the racetrack on January 22nd. It doesn't happen much like that at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Justin. 2 laps, you thought, Kyle said, 2 more laps, and you could have been a 2-time winner at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You were the first call we made when we were going to make this change to see if you could help out, because we know you understand the history and tradition of the Speedway. You understand the sport. Talk a little bit about what this change means and how excited you are and you think other drivers will be to run on the road course here.
Well, first of all, to have the opportunity to come here, I can't say thank you enough. As Roger mentioned, thank you guys as the media for coming out and supporting this. But I knew, when the announcement was made that Penske Corporation was going to purchase the Speedway, I immediately got a big smile on my face as a former employee of Mr. Penske and knowing the Penske organization. I knew that the Speedway couldn't be in better hands, and I was curious because I've had enough conversations with Roger to know that the wheels are always spinning, and he's always trying to improve racing, improve not only his race team, but the product that goes on the racetrack in general. And when I got the phone call to come and be a part of this announcement, obviously winning here 2 years ago, running second last year, I'd like a little redemption on the oval, just because I feel like we've had a successful kind of go at it. But on the flip side of it, this opportunity for this weekend really is exciting to me. And I feel like all the competitors, all the teams, the switch to July 4th weekend, to switch to a race course that I feel like fits our cars very well. As Ben kind of alluded to, they're going to try some different configurations, but seeing what kind of some of the options are, I believe in my mind that there's going to be some great passing zones, the ability to really put on a great race. Not that the oval race wasn't good, but as we're evolving in the sport, the fans and as Roger mentioned, the fan experience is the most important part, and to kind of come into a weekend where you have that split. You've got a road course on Saturday and an oval on Sunday. I'm excited for that. I'm trying to figure out now how to stick around for Saturday night to enjoy the festivities of the whole weekend. But it's just to be able to come here and to be part of this event. I think as all the Xfinity drivers are looking into this weekend, I think we're all going to be excited to be the first NASCAR road race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and we're all going to want to win that first race. I remember the first time coming here and racing in the Xfinity Series, how exciting that was. I remember the first 94 Brickyard 400. I actually sat in turn 1 up in the top level of the grandstand. So there's a lot of excitement. It's new, and I couldn't be more excited to get back here July 4th weekend.
Well, thank you for coming in, and good luck the rest of the weekend as you go midget racing in the Chili Bowl. So appreciate you taking the time. We've had a great relationship with NBC for a long time, and certainly on the NASCAR weekend side of things. And last year, all our racing at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway was under the NBC umbrella, and Sam Flood and his team have been fantastic partners. And what we want fans to do, we want fans to come and spend the entire weekend at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Start out with USAC racing, carry it on through the Pennzoil Xfinity race into the Big Machine Vodka 400. But for those fans that can't be here, Sam, why don't you talk a little bit of the change related to NBC and the weekend here at the Speedway?
Well, we loved the idea when they came to us about making the switch to the road course, and we at NBC like to make big events bigger. and this will be a big weekend. What a way to celebrate the 4th of July, celebrate the country, to be at this racetrack, flying in yesterday and looking out on a clear day, unlike today, and seeing this amazing complex. And you realize on July 4th weekend, we can bring it to life with this partnership, showcase the great driving, the different forms of racing, and have them both on NBC. So Big NBC is going to air both races. It'll be on the network. We are going to be all in. We talked through the logistics of switching the coverage from a road course to the oval, and we realize if they can switch the tracks around, we can certainly move cameras around to make it special and showcase the speed, the action, and everything that happens here. But we're very honored to be able to cover an event at this track that is so important to the sport, and to do it in this new way is going to be spectacular. And NBC loves, as I said, to make big events bigger. We're going to make this one huge.
Well, we really appreciate the partnership, and we're looking forward to a double NBC weekend at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on Independence Weekend. Last but certainly not least, and in fact we kind of put him last on purpose. So Scott Borchetta has been a partner at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for many years. We know him for the Big Machine Vodka 400, his help even before it became the Big Machine Vodka 400. You're involved in the Indy 500. You love motorsport like nobody I know. You race cars still. But as we started thinking, one of your investments in the Speedway wasn't just for the Big Machine Vodka 400, but you wanted to help build the entire weekend. And as we started thinking through this, you were one of the first people to say, what do we do about the road course? How can we make the Xfinity race better? How do we make the lead-in to the Big Machine Vodka 400 better? Why don't you talk about the excitement of this and just what it's like to be a partner with you? You're all in on this whole weekend.
Yeah, it's first I got to say, to be able to sit next to Mr. Penske, I'm actually a little bit nervous. He's been one of my heroes forever, and from the beginning of my career,
so you know,
Roger. So to be able to sit next to Roger today, I've used the unfair advantage statement from the beginning of Big Machine Records. So to be involved with you at the Speedway here, which is a place that I love so much, is truly an honor. So just so excited to make this. And really it's about the evolution today. That's what today is about, because everybody involved in motorsports is looking at, okay, how do we engage our fans? How do we give them a better experience? And the way that road racing has taken off in NASCAR for the last several years, Doug and I have been talking about this for a couple of years. It's like, how do we get the Cup cars or the Xfinity cars on the road circuit? And when Doug called me and told me, he said, hey, Roger is really in on this idea, it's like, okay, this is going to be fantastic, because what's happening with the Cup cars and the package that they have on the super speedway is challenging, and everybody's working hard to make that race the race that it needs to be. And I was here in 1994 as well, and saw Jeff Gordon win that first Big Machine Vodka 400. And to evolve and take the cars on the road circuit is going to be so great for not only the fans but for the drivers. I've won here. I got to win the SVRA Group 6 race this past year in the 72 Corvette, and that was such a proud moment. And actually in practice I got to pass Johnny Rutherford. He was out in a vintage car. And so it means so much to me to be part of this and what we can do. And this all comes down to entertainment. What is the best experience that we can give for the fans? And that's where we come in. And what we're going to do, bringing Florida Georgia Line back for July 4th, it's going to be explosive. We're going to have a huge fireworks display, of course, but what we're building and we will be announcing over the next several weeks, the lineup is going to be incredible. So that whole weekend, starting July 3rd, is going to be extraordinary, and we think this is going to become such a destination for fans, not only of racing, but for fans who want to come out and just have a great experience at one of the finest facilities in the world.
So I was going to ask you, and you touched on it. Roger started off talking about the importance of customer experience, and part of that is your mantra as well, and bringing Florida Georgia Line, that commitment. So the third year that they've come, we're really excited to have them. We had 25,000 people hanging out with Florida Georgia Line on Saturday night last year, and yeah. It's we're looking forward to doing that again. So let me recap, and then I'll ask a final question for Roger, and then we'll take some questions. So the weekend begins really with the BC 39 as we kick that off on Wednesday. So if you're into events, if you're into music, if you're into racing, you can't miss this weekend. It starts Wednesday and Thursday on the quarter-mile dirt track. 100+ competitors. It's become a huge event for us in just 2 years to kick things off. Come here on Friday. Hauler Parade still in downtown Main Street on Friday as the Cup cars roll in. You've got Xfinity on the racetrack practicing. We roll into Saturday where you'll have the Pennzoil Xfinity race, and then we'll get into practice that evening or that late afternoon for the Big Machine Vodka 400, and we'll close the evening out with Florida Georgia Line in concert. Starting Friday, for the first time ever, we're going to allow infield camping inside Turn 3 so people can actually spend the night and camp at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We've never done that before in one of our big events. We're really excited about that opportunity. So moving in on Friday, camping through the weekend. Saturday night, we will have fireworks here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway after the fireworks from downtown, so you can watch your fireworks from downtown from the grandstands, and then an opportunity to stay here for one of the largest shows in the state of Indiana here. And we're going to also make that available to folks if they want to come in after the race. And we'll be talking about more details on that. We want this to be the place to celebrate the 4th of July. So we're excited. And then on Sunday, we're going to roll right into the Big Machine Vodka 400 in that race that everybody wants to win and get a chance to kiss the brick. So it's a massive, massive weekend of excitement, a lot of changes going on. We will continue to make some subtle changes going forward. We're going to have a food fest, a lot of things that you'll hear about over the course of the next few weeks, but it is a weekend to not miss. Before I ask Roger a final question, I want to introduce General Winslow. General, thank you for coming. Thank you for all the military does. We're excited, as Roger mentioned, to connect these two American weekends together, and we're going to be doing an awful lot with military, both active and former military, to make sure that they have an opportunity to be part of this weekend. Appreciate all that you all do for the organization. I also mentioned at the front end, this is a community effort, not just a NASCAR effort, not just a venue effort, but it's a community effort. I introduced the folks that are up here, but even in this room today, you have Mark Miles, who's the CEO of Penske Entertainment Group. You have Jay Fry, president of the IndyCar Series that's here. Bud Danker, who's the president of Penske Corporation's here. Allison Melanchthon, senior vice president for Penske Entertainment Group. Jonathan Gibson, a senior vice president at Penske Corporation. This is a team effort, and we are really excited to all together work to make this weekend really successful. Roger, any closing comments? I know you're excited about this. You're really helping drive the bus on this. What are your thoughts after this? Is a pretty neat group you're sitting with.
Well, I think I said it when we made our announcement back, I think it was in November, we had the merger agreement. I never believed when I was here in 1951 with my dad that I'd be sitting up here talking about a road race, at the NASCAR weekend on the Brickyard. But real opportunity. We're going to make more announcements about some of our plans 100 days out, which will be in February. Lots of things we're working on. We want to, again, make the fan experience it's premier for me to make the fan experience. And I think this shows you in a very quick partnership, with the France family, with Ben, obviously, who leads that we could put this together in a short period of time. And I think we have the facility. The Hallman family invested here. We've got one of the best road circuits as a Formula One capability, so it has the safety, it has the passing capability. We got the garage area. Our people can turn this track in hours, not days. And these are the things that really are in that toolbox, which I was aware of to a certain extent. I knew a lot what was inside, but what I've learned about outside and what we can do here, this is just the start of it. So we're really excited, Doug, and thank you for your leadership.
Thank you. With that, we will take a couple of questions. I believe that the phone line is down, so Alex will be giving us some of those questions. It's up again. So we'll take questions from folks. Hit *1 if you're online in order to get questions, but we'll start with folks here.
Roger or Doug, whoever feels most suited to answer this question, do you look at the Brickyard weekend as your permanent NASCAR home now, or is this a one-year experiment to see what happens with this date?
Well, I think the day, is provided us by NASCARs are looking at their schedules. I know they've announced lots of changes, lots of opportunities. We're in partnership with them, but look, we're focusing on the date we have this year and tied in with our 500 date. And I think the main thing here is let's show the fans, let's show you as a media what we can do here, whether it's this weekend, 2 years from now or not, I looked at it as an opportunity. Glass not half empty, but half full. So we're gonna excite it and we're gonna execute it. That's our plan.
What about Cup Oval practice? Do they get any practice before Sunday, or when does the Oval become available for Cup practice at all?
Well, these guys are so good. We just line them up and go. We'll go on. It'll be a rain weekend. Just go on points, right? That's what we'll do. I'll let Doug answer that.
2018 all over again. We're just going to go ahead and go by points. No. So what will happen is the Pennzoil Xfinity race will take place on Saturday afternoon. There will be a roughly 90-minute break after the checkered flag of that event. We will convert the track to an oval configuration, and then there will be 1 or 2 Big Machine Vodka practices on Saturday afternoon. Qualifying will be Sunday morning for the race, and then the race will be Sunday afternoon. Take one more in here, and then I think we have Bob Pockras in a minute. So let's take one more from the room here.
This one for Doug here. I know you mentioned you talked about this had maybe been in conversations these last couple years. What finally, with talking with Roger, I guess maybe Roger, you can speak to this too. What finally made the most sense to make this move for the future?
Well, let me just try to answer that question. I think this was, in the suggestion box. Really, we've asked people, "What's your top 10?" This was one that was at the top on many people's list. Let's try the road course. And at that point, with our partnership, with the folks in Daytona and certainly Ben, we went to them with options, and really they turned it around. I mean, to the credit, Ben and his team are the ones that checked the box, said, let's go. And I think that really hadn't gotten that far probably before, but I think it was something we wanted to do. What could we do coming right out of the box? It's less than a week, and now we're announcing we're going to be running on the road course. So this was, I think, we gave them our priority, and they were able to set the schedule with us. We were able to do the things they wanted to be sure that we could turn the track properly. So there was some work had to be done there, but we were able to go through those particular items, check the box on those, and here we are.
I guess just a follow-up to that, getting a chance to get the Xfinity Series cars on the road course for you, Roger, or for you, Ben, do you see this as an opportunity to test and see what the Cup cars might potentially look like, and is that anything that could potentially come down the road?
Go ahead.
I think the focus now is to really test it with Xfinity, especially next week, and we'll see how that goes with a few different configurations. But really want to focus on Xfinity, and I think it'll be neat. We were talking about it a little bit earlier today, but to have Xfinity on the road course and then the Cup Series on the oval in the same weekend, I can't think of a weekend in NASCAR's history where we've run a road course and oval back to back. So I think it'll be really neat to see.
I think the fans themselves are going to be the ones who are going to tell us, and our media partners, what was the outcome. Who knows, next year we might run the Cup cars on the road course and run Xfinity on the oval. I mean, I'm serious. You never know. And I think that's the great thing with NASCAR. With an open mind, we have that opportunity to try a number of different things.
So, Bob, if you're on the line, I think we can go ahead and take a question from you.
This is, I guess, for Ben. Obviously, I know things are kind of urgent, so you have a Penske driver in DiBenedetto testing next week, which in what I assume is a Penske car. Is there going to be any more testing after next week? Keep a fair playing field.
Yeah, so right now the plan is just for the test next week with Matt DiBenedetto. Matt DiBenedetto will not be eligible to drive an Xfinity race. So that was one caveat that we kind of had to put out there just to keep it as a level playing field. But for right now, just planning on the test next week, and if we need to reevaluate, we will from there.
Dustin Long with NBC Sports, I believe, has got a question as well.
Purchase the Speedway, you've made it known that the Brickyard is still an important event and that you were wanting to do a lot with it. So obviously it's faced challenges over over the last few years. Why has it been so important for you to put so much emphasis on the Brickyard race, the NASCAR weekend?
Was that a question for me?
It is.
Yeah, Dustin, basically, we look at the 500 and the success we have, and, this race, we had many, many fans here as we started. Then we had the issue, with tires and other things. So we really have not had the ability to fill the stands the way we want to, and I think it's a challenge for us, and it's something we want to work on. So it became a priority for us. So I think it's a focus. And we've decided to use the facility other than just for the Indy cars. So now it's time for us to execute. This is 2020, and we're going to make it better. We have the military, certainly, and we have our partners, Penske and certainly Scott with his company. And I think the partnership with NASCAR, they're looking to make it different. So this was pretty easy for us. And I think for us, we just need to execute. One other thing, Ben, just to mention, Matt Benedetto, we will not be running at any speeds here next week, just with the weather. So someone thinks that we picked him to run this. This was a car that could be available. And I think following that, there might be a tire test. We don't know that, Ben, do we? And there might, if that did happen.
There could be, yeah.
Yeah, there could be. So just to put that to bed, there's no advantage here because you're not going to be running anywhere near the speeds you would even think about running. It's more to get the track to look at the runoffs, for the technical people at Xfinity, see where the runoffs and do they need to add anything.
Any more questions here in the room? Well, the final thing, and I'll let everybody go. You can see on the screens here and on the backdrop our new Big Machine Vodka 400 logo. It embraces red, white, and blue. It embraces the American spirit. And we are going to build a campaign around that red, white, and blue called Go Forth at IMS. So around July 4th weekend, you will start seeing Go Forth at IMS, Go Forth in FGL, Go Forth an Xfinity race. There was going to be a huge plan, Go Forth and Get Dirty, one of my favorites. So we are looking forward to connecting two of the greatest American weekends here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Just recapping, this weekend is going to be every racer's dream. You can start out at short track with some of the best short track racers and folks who don't normally race short track who want to run the BC39, rolling it into the Xfinity race for the first time ever on the road course here, and then concluding things on the oval, the historic oval, and the Big Machine Vodka 400. Mr. Penske, team up here, thank you so much for the time. Thanks for just the collaboration. It's been wonderful to watch everybody just dive in and say, how are we going to change this weekend? And we're looking forward to it. It's 172 days from now, and it's going to be a party. So thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.